So as Gara very kindly gave an introduction to the Linguaphone Group, who are the owners of the Direct English brand worldwide. You know, we are a company that has been in business of teaching languages and nothing but languages, particularly the English language, for over 100 years. And you know, India is not a market that is new to us either. We know India quite well, but you know that we also have very good operations in early years in our Pingu's English brand in the region. So it's as I say, Asia, the Middle East is a whole area where we are operating quite well. So as a company, we're in 20 countries worldwide. And each one of those comes up with a master licensee, and each country tends to run its own model. The great thing about direct English is that you have, if you like, both the ability to create physical centers where students can come to you and run face-to-face classes, but more dynamically, we have an online version and operation, and that itself can be run in many different ways. We have the Delhi program, which is our blue chip online English language learning program, which allows you to scale from the minute you sign a contract with us. You know, we can get those courses up and running because the teachers are our teachers, you know, based around the world, qualified English teachers who will teach your students on our curriculum. All they need to do is to log in, and you can start teaching straight away. I think also, you know, the one thing that can be done, obviously, is those resources can be, the online resources can be still be used in the face-to-face context too. So students can still visit a center, but access digital resources through their mobile phones or through their laptops and what have you. And that whole digital library, if you like, of learning that we offer across the 8 levels of direct English allows you to scale very, very quickly. So if you want to go to the next slide, please, Ashar. Shall I just, oh, hang on a sec, I'll try.
Yeah.
It's just not working for me, that's all.
Oh, so just, I'll claim back the control.
Okay, wonderful. So a little bit about Louis Alexander, because he's a hero of mine. You know, Louis Alexander really changed the way people learned English. He, like a lot of men of his generation, was caught up at the, if you like, particularly the back end of the Second World War. And in the early 1950s, one thing he was charged with doing, it's not on this slide, there's a bit of extra history, if you like, was actually working with Germans in Germany to get them to speak English so that they could benefit from what was known as the Marshall Plan, where the United States and various other countries started investing in Germany to rebuild it after the war. But of course, many Germans didn't speak English. And the army, being the army, gave him a wonderful objective of teaching a very large group of Germans English in 6 weeks. He had to create a curriculum, he had to create a method of learning, which, if you like, introduced people who were complete beginners in English to be able to get them up to some, you know, good proficiency in the language. And he was actually credited with being the first author of English to create a tailored course book for a curriculum. You know, there'd been grammar books around for many, many years, and actually Louis wrote Longman's Book of Grammar and achieved a Guinness Book of Records for that. But he was also one of the first authors to specifically create course books for learners and learning resources dedicated to support one particular curriculum. Importantly, as language learning evolved, Louis Alexander also became one of the original founding chairs of what is now known today as the European Framework for the References of Language, or CEFR, or CEFR for short, CEFR. The CEFR is a benchmark by which all languages have particular, if you like, can-do achievements and are graded from A to B, A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2, with C2 being the highest and A1 being the lowest that you could achieve. And as a chairman of what used to be known as the early part of A1 and B1, you know, he really knew how that CEFR or the CEFR scale worked. And when he authored Direct English in '97, 1997. Direct English was mapped to that European framework of common frame of languages, because that was his bread and butter too. That was a really powerful thing to do, because every exam today, and it doesn't matter whether it's PES, IELTS, or a TOEIC qualification, what have you, all of those qualifications are also mapped to the European framework for languages. And that's key, because that means I can tell my customer where they need to start their journey to achieve a particular learning goal. If you've got customers that want to be at university anywhere in the world, Australia, United Kingdom, USA, they will need to achieve a certain level of English proficiency. And IELTS scores on listening, speaking, usage, all of that, same sort of thing that we teach. So when somebody comes to Direct English, we don't just sell them an English course, we sell them a solution. We give them a placement test, which is online. And we were one of the first systems to go with a lot of early online resources, the placement test being the first, where we can tell them where their journey should start. If they tell us they need, for instance, an IELTS 6.5, we can map that on the CEFA. We know where they need to get in terms of their proficiency. So 6.5 is B2C1. So we know where their journey needs to go, how many levels exactly of our course they will need to take. It may only be one, it may be three. It's the beauty of having a solution that scales, is that we can fit a solution to their needs. And Direct English Live itself, during COVID, as you know, the world shut down. I think India was actually one of the last countries to shut down. You guys really bravely stuck it out as long as you possibly could. Some could argue that had consequences later on, but we won't go into the dark history that was COVID. But the simple fact is, those kinds of crises are with us every living day. It could be a tsunami in Tokyo, in Japan. It could be yet another viral attack somewhere along the line. More and more, as there are more humans on this planet, we seem to be having more and more interruptions to our normal ways of life, whether that's through climate change or what have you. Online learning, particularly with Direct English Live, gives you the ability to keep going on whatever happens. And Direct English Live is a unique proposition. You use our teachers here from the UK to teach your students in India. All your team has to do is sell the course. Okay, so you sell the course at whatever price suits you, whatever price the model works for you, and yes, for sure, there is a fee for running the course that comes back to us here in London. But at the end of the day, you're running a program where you have zero need for a center, zero need for any resources in place, because all of that learning is online. The students can log in to our exclusive LMS, access the courses they need to do, and through that system get a link into a live class with a live qualified English teacher, native English teacher. Next slide, please, Ashon. Great. So I've been through a lot of these benefits already. It's half the fun of live TV. But I think certainly it's not just, it's Direct English, if you like, is a three-legged chair or a three-legged stool. One leg is definitely our curriculum, a solid curriculum backed up by solid content. The third part is the infrastructure. We have invested an awful lot in our learning management system. We use, at the moment, we have an agreement with Zoom at an enterprise level to support our live classes. And that's why, you will see we have a tailored URL from Zoom for all of our classes under the Direct English Live name. It's not just go to Zoom, it's go to Direct English Live. And that's key. But the third leg, of course, are the quality of our teachers. All of our teachers are recruited and interviewed by our academic team, who are ferocious in their selection. When they have been selected, they then go through an onboarding session. All of our teachers then have to sit as observers in classes to watch how practice teachers do deliver the program, and then they're given their own sets of courses. A lot of our students, if you look at Trustpilot, for directenglishlive.com. The one thing you will always hear from our students is a fantastic relationship they have with our teachers, and how integrated all of the learning material is with what they're being taught. So, and I think that's key, because we support our teachers as much as we do our students and our customers. And our teachers go into classes with full lesson plans. They know exactly what they need to deliver, and they do their job of being a professional educator really, really well. And the students love it. And that's something you can't bottle up and sell. It's something, marketing professionals find it really hard to sort of put into a campaign or an ad, that kind of passion, that kind of connection. Direct English Live essentially sells itself once a student joins the course. And in our business, re-enrollment is key. And one thing you will see with Direct English Live is a lot of students who studied at least one level will come back and do at least 2 or 3 levels. Our record so far is in Thailand, believe it or not. We had a young lady, she was only 12 years old, not necessarily our target market, I hasten to add, but hey, she wanted to learn English, and she went through all 8 levels online with Direct English. Okay, and she did that in 3 years. So it is very, very possible to learn a lot very, very quickly. And she's now a very proficient, obviously fluent speaker with English, having studied with Direct English. Great. Ashok, next slide, please, sir. Okay, so the methodology that Louis Alexander developed is really interesting. It's based on a secular syllabus. So what that means is the students are taught meaningful chunks of language and told the rules of grammar. And that is, if you like, recycled as they go through the curriculum. So they get to practice again what they've been taught. So for example, if you go to like level 1, unit 1, lesson 1, the whole subject matter is greetings. How do you introduce yourself? Hello, my name's Mark Simpson. Hello, this is Cheska Whitcomb, she is my colleague in marketing. So you do all of these sort of greetings at unit 1, level 1, lesson 1. If you go to, it's still in level 1, if you go to unit 4, lesson 1, okay, the theme is not so much greetings, but it is, what do you do? But to just explain what you do, you still need to fall back on the ability to be able to say, hello, I'm Mark Simpson, I work for the Linguaphone Group. So you're revisiting a lot of the rules and paradigms you learned earlier in the class. This breeds familiarity for the student. The student looks at this learning and goes, I know some of this already. And that breeds confidence. And that's the one thing our system does more than any other system, is breed confidence to the student. Give the student confidence that what they're learning is sticking in their head. Now, to reinforce that it's stuck in their head, the other thing we do is test them. We test them 3 times through each level. So the methodology is, yes, you've got the secular syllabus, you've got a first-class curriculum, you've got great online material, but we have also got an awful lot of testing. So there's the progress tests, which occur after every 9 taught lessons or every 3 units. Within each unit of study, there's also a self-test, so the students can also test themselves as they're going along. So an awful lot of assessment that's going through. And the progress tests even include listening elements that are in there. And of course, when a student completes a level of direct English, we issue them a certificate. That certificate in itself, if you like, is still benchmarked against the CEFR. So if you show an employer or somebody else that you've got a direct English certificate level 3, that's telling them you're at the top end of A2 on the CEFR. And it will allow you then to look at, for instance, different proficiency tests like IELTS. If you needed IELTS 6.5, as we can see on this slide, you knew you would have to at least graduate at level 6 from direct English. If you take your placement test and you're scoring level 2, you've got a lot of learning to do. Okay, but it's a clear pathway. It's not a hazy, misty, foggy pathway. It's a very clear pathway to that IELTS 6.5. So it's a really solid curriculum. It's a methodology that is also highly flexible. You know, the methodology can be delivered in many different ways. It can be fully taught, as we do online, where we teach every single lesson. It can be a hybrid of self-study and then visiting a center to have a, if you like, a review session with a tutor, and lots of other different models in between. So that strength of that methodology, the flexibility of the methodology, comes from the strength of the syllabus. Cheska, if you ever want to jump in and add anything to what I'm saying, please just jump in and interrupt me, because I do go on. Okay, and I assume, Persis, there will be Q&A at the end, so I haven't stopped. I'll just keep going. Great. Ashok, next slide, please, sir. Thank you. Wonderful. So yeah, you know, the whole aim of this is for you guys to come and join a successful group of partners, you know, particularly, you know, area developers in India. There's a huge opportunity for you here to carve out a slice of the country and make it your own. But, you know, you're not pioneers in any sense. Direct English has been around for several decades, you know, and it's achieved huge success already. But India is a huge opportunity for us, that's for sure. That's for sure. Ashok, next slide. Wonderful. So maybe I should hand over to you, Ashok, for the GTM strategy for India.
Thank you, Mr. Mark. So the opportunity for India market, basically we are looking for area partners, basically area developers. So this area developer will have the opportunity to develop their one direct school, and then they will have the opportunity to sub-franchise a set of units. So these set of units may range from minimum 5 units, and it may go up to 20. And then that is the minimum benchmark. And these area zones basically defined in the further slides that we will discuss. So the benefit to the franchisee and his role and responsibility, basically they can do a hybrid mode, so basically model to run the school, basically physical education center plus the online courses. But brand will get basically the one exclusive right for the territory or a particular region, and then they will have the combination of their own schools and a soft franchise school. So area franchisee partner, they have to pay basically initial license fee depending on the potential that they are opting for, plus their investment in the own center. And then area developer basically get 60% of the franchise fees from the sub-franchisees and revenue share. Area developer also gets the margin on the study material that will be supplied. And so it brings a basically strong profit venture for the franchisee partners. And partners will have the full hand holding and complete support in terms of store development and running the center. So now we are looking at the Indian market size. So even in India, basically, if you look, this is the country of the maximum languages. There are 120 languages basically that are spoken in India. And if you consider English, so English in India was started in like 250 years ago. But in terms of market size, it's still it's a very low market, because only the 10% of the Indian population, they basically English speaker. Like if you talk about the efficient speakers, or you can say proficient speakers, those could be like in a range of like 2 to 3%. And rest basically 7-8% are basically, it's a kind of in India there's a word called like English, so they speak mix or basically improper language. But the market size as of 2020 is of $5 billion, and that we can translate like 40,000 crore market. Now basically the market drivers for English language are quite huge. If you consider India, look at the map, basically there are multiple languages across the regions. So to communicate within or across the regions, you need a common language. That universal language is basically English. And that English basically in India, if you look at the market size, basically in terms of speakers, India gets only the 10%. So it's directly, but now it's a challenge again, why only 10%? That means it's still 90% of the population. That is the potential basically learner for English language, right? And who can be the basically direct user for English language? So these can be your students, it can be your individuals, it can be your educational institute, government organizations, or corporate learners. And if you consider the age group, so we have the basically a program for the all age groups. So below 18 years or 18 to 20 years or above 20 years, 30 years, or above 40 years. So there's opportunities for all to learn. And it brings the, again, opportunity for the learners to prepare for competitive exams, interviews, workforce, private workplaces, your blue collar white workforce. And even in the smaller towns, basically now people have the interest in basically speaking English. And nowadays, if you consider people prefer more to speak in English, even our study material, courses, these all are designed in English. If you consider any your government work, clerical work, paperwork, everything, basically 99% is basically converted to English. So English has become a very essential tool for all age groups and all categories.
Yeah, absolutely. That's common around the world. That's not just India.
Yeah, absolutely. So now the market positioning for direct English as a brand to position in India market, because we understand the market size, plus we also understand basically Indian mindset. They are very price sensitive. But if you look at the other players, basically they charge anything between 250 rupees per hour. It goes up to like 1,000 rupees per hour kind of fees they charge for their courses. And average size of batch has been considered like starting at 10 students per batch, and it goes up to 30, 40 students per batch. So we are positioning ourselves just to bring the quality education at an affordable price. So we are positioning around like 250 rupees to 300 rupees a kind of per hour rate. So these are reverse calculated numbers from the fees converted to per hour cost. And the batch size we are keeping basically 10 to basically give the more quality education to our students. So basically that differentiate, and basically it creates our position in the market very strong. Now, financial snapshot. So basically we are looking for franchisee owned and franchisee operated model. Their basically area requirement for a school is around 2,000 square feet. And the investment for area developer is going to range from 25 lakhs to 60 lakh, is depending on the geography. And the franchisee fees that we are targeting 4 lakh rupees per center. And average return on investment is going to be 100% from the year one, right? And payback period is going to be less than a year for even a one single unit, or for area developer is definitely going to be less than a year. And so agreement period is going to be 5 years for a unit franchisee, but it comes to area developer, this agreement is going to be 10 years. The ideal partner we are looking for. So basically, if you are educating English, find it's very rewarding. Basically, we are looking for a very high energy partners who can develop the entire region, and they have a basically good market outreach. For individual centers or you can unit franchisees, we have a set of criteria for like if partners who are already related or associated with the education and training business, or some like retired professor and teachers who have the basically ability to devote their time to educate students. Women entrepreneurs, again, with education background. So we want to support women empowerment. Again, industry professionals, like somebody is from corporate training background, is going to be a good partner. And especially after COVID, you will find like a lot of facilities are related to your tuition centers, education centers, or training centers. If they are underutilized, they can acquire a franchisee, so they can save some investment cost on infrastructure, and that's going to be a very profitable venture for these franchisee partners.
Yeah, and I think, Ashok, if I can add to that, it just answers one of the questions in the Q&A. I think once you've got your, your agreement, your license, The other thing you can do is go to neighboring schools and sub-license it as a program in the school. So if you don't want to build physical centers necessarily next to you, you can sub-license educational establishments near you, like colleges or universities, to run it as a program in their site. I hope that answers the question that was raised earlier.
Thank you, Mr. Mark. So rollout plan that we are targeting. So these are the opportunities for the area developers. So these are 20, we have classified basically the whole geographic region into 20 clusters. So J&K, Ladakh and Himachal has the potential to do one basically own center and plus 5 sub-franchise centers. UP and Uttarakhand will have the opportunity to do 15 centers. So the opportunity for the area developer to do their own school, and plus they can sub-franchise and the set of schools. Punjab, Chandigarh is again is a very golden market. It has the potential of 15, and so these are the basically minimum potential for the sub-franchisees, but not limited to. If area developer have the potential and they have the more good potential locations, they can develop more than 15 centers in the defined geography. So Haryana has the potential for 8 sub-franchisees. Delhi NCR again is a very good market. It has the potential for a 12 sub-franchise unit. Rajasthan 6, Gujarat got 8, Maharashtra and Chhattisgarh. Sorry, it's MP and Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. This area basically has potential of 8 units. If you consider Maharashtra basically apart from Mumbai city alone has the potential for 12 units, and rest of Maharashtra has the potential for another 20 units. So again, it's a very golden territory for area developers. Goa has the potential for 5 centers. Because government of Goa is already basically focusing on education sector. So their main priority in their budget and is basically education and health. These are the 2 sectors they are heavily focused and promoting. Andhra Pradesh and Telangana again. So Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, these 2 states will have the potential for 15 units, and Tamil Nadu has the potential for another 12 units. Kerala here has the potential for 10 units. If you consider basically, this is your Odisha. Odisha has the potential for 5 units, followed by Bihar, 5 units, in Jharkhand, again 5 units. Then we have West Bengal here. This is again has the potential for 10 units, and rest basically your Northeast area, it has the potential for another 5 centers. Benefit to becoming our franchisee partners. So Mr. Mark, you want to take on?
Yeah, sure, great. Thank you, Sadid Ashok, for handling over that. I think as Mr. Kumar has clearly shown, the financial benefits, apart from your return on investment over time, is simply the fact that English language training right now, particularly in India, is a profitable business. You know, for quite a low investment, you can get returns both through your online, both through your physical platform. And I think particularly with the Delhi program, you can start getting payback from literally a minute after you sign the agreement. You could just go out, do a bit of marketing, get your first students, even before you put a first brick in the wall, just a little bit of marketing, you can start getting money back on your investment. I think certainly operationally, there's enough flexibility in the models, the delivery models for us. I think certainly the support from my colleague Jessica Whitcomb and her team provides you with a bit of edge, particularly in the marketing arena, you know, both digital and otherwise. I think certainly, you know, we run a very, very simple, if you like, licensing model. That doesn't mean it's not sophisticated. It just means it's very easy to deploy. You know, we're not out here to bamboozle you or you know, flummox you. We are a successful online English language franchise. We've been successful in many different markets, wealthy markets, not so wealthy markets. You know, it's yours to develop and tailor for your region. And I think, you know, the price points that you put out there are all supportive of a local business model rather than just like one size fits all. So, there's a lot of flexibility, and you're accessing a world-class UK curriculum. I think that's really key. This isn't homegrown. This is nothing, and not that there's anything wrong with homegrown, but this is something from the UK. This has not been watered down. It's not been made into a local product or anything like that. It's a pure UK product that, we defend, we invest in, we upgrade on a regular basis. Cheska, do you want to throw anything in on the marketing side?
Well, just to touch on it, to say that we operate very closely with all of our partners worldwide from a marketing perspective. Marketing changes every day, and as we learn and develop, we share that with all our partners. So the toolkits, the assets, the branding guidelines, the campaigns that we run, we also provide to all of our partners to access, localize, and use at any stage in their marketing plan. So we're with you for the journey. Absolutely.
Yeah, indeed. So I think, there are not any questions that will be asked today that we've not heard many times from many different parts of the world, and many different cases, use cases of English, how we've deployed the business, what customers we go for. And I think certainly one of the things I enjoy about Direct English is how I've seen, if you like, its usage, or its as an English language course, broaden out to students. As I say, we've got some markets that have started a new program called Direct English Teens. It's exactly the same learning content, but they've shifted to a much younger target market. And in some countries like Israel, like Saudi Arabia, it's bringing in whole new customers they haven't been able to go to before. So that's really exciting too. There's something about 14-year-old kids that love studying what their parents would normally study. They love to role play as hotel managers. They love to role play as business owners. They think it's very exciting to be involved in something like Direct English. So that's great too. But it's a system that has a lot of adaptability. There are things you can't flex, and we won't let you flex them. But a lot of it can be adapted to suit your needs. And that's it from my side. Ashok, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Ma. And so franchisee partners going to have a huge benefit from basically world-class curriculum and basically their brand legacy, their knowledge, expertise, experience, and the complete hand-holdings basically the franchisee partners going to receive. So that brings a huge benefit to the franchisee partners.
Yeah, and I think Ashok raises a huge point there too. Whilst we support Ashok and Persis and the team in India from London, I think don't forget, they're also in country there. Their teams are there to support you as well. The level of hand-holding is quite extensive. So even if you're a first-time entrepreneur, this is a model where you can be guided to start, if you like. It's not difficult for you to get going. I think this slide reiterates much of what we've already said, particularly in the area of UK curriculum. You don't need yourself to have been a professor or a university academic or anything like that. Actually, I prefer you weren't. This is something that a really good entrepreneur with a lot of passion for helping other people become self-sufficient and able in a language like English, which is the global English language of trade and commerce. So I think this is something that if you've got money to put behind your business, this is a great business to put behind.